Welcome back to the GSL Up and Downs. We have 2 sets left of matches. We'll see if the last one is even needed here. Caldor has the stats.
Yeah, I do. I'm not quite sure if I have all of them, though. So if I missed something, then please bear with me. But I try to crunch the numbers here.
I'm just gonna drink hot 6 and watch you do this.
No problem. The next game is gonna decide a lot. We are still a little bit. We're not far into the group, so at this point there's still a lot of different scenarios that could evolve, but the next game is going to be ASD versus Parting. ASD and Parting have both 1 win and 2 losses, and the matter of the fact is, if ASD now loses the match and Bjan wins against Shine, Bjan is going to Kodes, because the only players that he can tie with, he basically he defeated earlier. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, guys. There's still 6 matches left, so there are a lot of possibilities. I don't think there can be a 3-way tie where he gets out, but I might be wrong on that. I'm completely honest about it. Usually at this point, or at some point in the group, we have a scenario where I'm 100% sure how the group is going. Right now, I'm not 100% sure about it. A different scenario evolves if Parting now loses. Yeah, if Parting loses and not ASD, then Shine wins against Bjan. Then Shine would be in Kodes, because he can only tie with 1 person, and he would have the direct comparison between the 2 of them. But basically, when we are definitely 100% sure what's going on, that's when Keen plays against Trap. If Keen wins against Trap.
As soon as we're sure, that's when Keen plays against Trap.
Yeah, now he has to win first, but right now Keen could lose 2 games, and suddenly he would be on 3-2, but all the opponents that he has to meet for now on are Trap and Bjan, so if Bjan gets a good score, there might be a scenario where we have a 3-way tie. It's a little bit complicated today. I hate 6-player groups. 5-player groups are much more, a lot easier.
I'm with you on that.
Game is starting.
Yeah, let's not forget what's really happening right now on screen. It's ASD against Parting. Both of these players in a little bit of a stressful situation, especially ASD. 1 and 2 in the group. This is the Up and Down matches for Season 5 of 2012's Kodes.
To the bottom left of the map, Cloud Kingdom, we have in orange the FXO Terran player 1-2 in the group today. So far, that is. He's up against the Protoss, and his ID is
FXO ASD.
FXO ASD. Sure needs a win now. And he's up against Protoss, as mentioned. This Protoss is starting to the top right of the map in blue. We have starting for Startail, the one and only
Starty Party.
With this pink mouse.
Pink mouse, red loofah. And, you know, I always wonder if things would be different if he used a blue loofah. How would it change?
You think it would change?
Like, does blue loofah acrobat have the same ring to it as red loofah acrobat does? I don't think so. Don't think so. Not so much yellow loofah acrobat. No. It's all about the red. What if it could even be a lie? Maybe he never used a red loofah, but they just use that because that one sounds the best. Purple, well, not so much. You were thinking about magenta? Think twice about that, because no, that doesn't sound good either.
That wasn't really what I was thinking, though.
Ah, I knew you were thinking about cyan.
Huh?
Cyan, cyan, how do you pronounce that word? I've always wondered about this. I actually had an argument with my father a few years ago about this. And at that time, I was sure, but now I'm not so sure. Is it, I'm talking about the color, of course, is it C-Y-A-N? Is it cyan, cyan, cyan? I think it's cyan, but I don't know.
Do I have to talk about this? Do I have a choice?
I was just curious about your opinion regarding the subject. By the way,
my opinion is, core. I don't care. I really don't care.
Well, whether you care or not, I cared about what you thought, and I was just curious.
I don't have a thought on the pronunciation of that.
Okay. Well,
it never crossed my mind, and I doubt that it ever will.
If you talk to me a lot, which you do, it's part of your job, it might come up again.
I'm pretty sure it will.
By the way, we have a reactor coming down for ASD here, but he does not... He doesn't mine 100 gas, he mines 92, which is kind of a weird amount of gas to mine.
It's
now he can't... There's nothing you can get with 42 gas in the game. Well, you can get one Baneling, but he's not playing that race. You can also get a Tech Lab, but he only has one barracks, and he's already making a reactor with it.
And, well, currently what we have on the game as well is, of course, the expansion, and the chrono boosts for parting are used for a cybernetics core here. The double expand for ASD, who currently drops his second command center.
This is a game where both players have cut gas to get a faster expansion, but in this case, ASD is going to have a lot of production off of just that one barracks. I really love this build. Parting could use, though, if he gets a hint about what's happening here, he may use his parting build. Well, actually, there's adding gateways first, going up to 3. I thought perhaps he would go for the fast Nexus and then go for the 8 gateway attack. That would be a great way to punish what ASD is doing here. ASD has to stop marine production for a second to make these barracks.
Yep, he wants more production, and that's exactly what he gets. He's mining gas from one refinery, not from double just yet. This is going to be this is shaping up to be a long game. I don't think that we're going to see some kind of timing here. Not anytime soon, at least, that is. Now, double gates also added for parting. He, of course, wants at some point to have a robotic so that he gets the observer, has a few scouting information here, and knows what's going on in the main base of his opponent. There's the robo, as predicted, and for ASD at this point, we just have the double barracks, the orbital command. He wants to get the third mule out, wants to get the triple SCV production, is going to lift one of those command centers to the low ground fairly soon. Needs, of course, a bunker to be safe. And gets even the double tech lab now immediately at his barracks. It looks like he's once again going for a bit of a heavier bioforce, going into maybe even into upgrades. He did this earlier in the game, in the first match that he played against Protoss with a double engineering bay. We don't have those yet.
Not yet.
And that's the bunker.
Will he actually move his command center down the low ground, though? He doesn't have to, but I feel that on this map you really easily can, because it doesn't take a lot to actually lift back into your main. He's got the SCV count up to 30 now.
And he has the double upgrades in the tech lab. He's going for the combat shield and also for Stim right away. Adding a few marauders now to his unit composition and still really heavily committing to his SCV production.
I'm wondering again about this command center. I think he's just going to keep it in the main. He wants to be the aggressor himself. And with only 30 SCVs, which was at the time just mentioned, now he's up to 36.
Parting goes straight into robotics bay.
Yeah, he is. And if these builds collide like this with the combat shields and the stim with that push that he wants to hit, the Colossi are going to be just what he wants. Will he make just one and go into Temple Archives, or will he make more than one? That's what we're going to find out pretty soon.
Scans being used now by ASD to judge the situation, to see what's going on, what kind of composition Parting is using, and where he's positioned on the map. We have now Parting also adding the first fort, so he wants to get his upgrades, whereas ASD did not add the engineering base just yet. He wants to have the factory this time a little bit faster. In the game that he played against his opponent Trap earlier, we saw him with a bit of a delayed starport. Why mixing games up right now?
I think you're right.
There's the engineering bay.
Now,
double engineering bay.
He's avoiding the watchtower he doesn't know about. The observer doesn't see this army. It's coming across the map. He changes its path slightly, but he's still not going to see. He doesn't know about this, and this is a really scary attack because Parting is not quite aware about what's going on.
He will have Stim, will have Guardian Shield, Combat Shield.
If he had Guardian Shield, man, I think that
would be a pretty imbalanced, I feel.
Well, the probe
saw it, right?
The probe, I think, did see it, but now he definitely knows. He's trying to find out. He's trying to figure out: do I use my sentries offensively or defensively here? He doesn't quite know. Waits for the Colossus. This is what I was talking about. This is exactly what he wants. This is why ASD cannot commit here.
Yeah, ASD doesn't even try. He had a close look and was like, okay, well, if I'd seen opening, I'm going to take it. But then he realized that this was taking too much of a risk. Scans again in the main base and reveals every single scout, every single check pattern that Parting goes for. And Parting is just going for one Colossus. He's once again just going into Colossus and then straight into Temple Archive, a strategy that has been around for quite a long time.
And that's what ASD was able to see with that scan. That's really important for him to know that, so he can start his Ghost Academy fairly soon. Also knows he's making medevacs instead of Vikings right now because he knows that he can as well. That poke that he did was a great way to force a cancel on the third base. There was no third. He scanned ahead again. He's been using a lot of scans in this game. Check and see what type of army composition he was in. Decided not to commit. Now he's just poking around a little bit. poking at these rocks.
I don't blame them at all that they don't commit too much. They know exactly whoever loses here is out.
That was an attempt to assassinate the Observer that failed, and he's going to lose a lot of units here.
Oh, yes. He's going to lose way too much. ASD lost a significant size of his army. And what I just said, whoever loses this match is in Code A, has no chance of getting a Code S spot.
Gets out with those units, takes out 2 Zealots, and you're right. So you've got to be super careful in a situation where your whole life, which tournament you're going to be playing in next season, depends on this one moment. You cannot mess it up. You don't want to make that commitment. You know, oftentimes you don't make decisions like we saw ASD use then pick off the Observer, in fact.
It just adds another level of stress to your play. Another stim, and look at this army, it's so low on HP, but we now have the first 2 medivacs, additional 2 are joining the army composition of the Terran player from FXO very soon. Harding, of course, with his storms once more. The charge upgrade has been completed. In regards to the Harvesters economy, we have both of them at exactly the same numbers, of course. A bit of an advantage to ASD, who is saturating 3 mineral lines with those mules. And Ghost Academy. ASD knows what's coming. I mean, that's not a secret that Harding is pretty centered around those storms. Yeah, that is his trademark style.
He's known for this. He verified it with the scout. You know, with the scan, he saw the Templar archives coming up. Now he's also fought against the army. Noticed that 1 Colossus was consistently the number that he was facing. A bunch of extra gateways being added for Harding. Now 6 extra, in fact. This really is how he loves to play. Gateway heavy with Templar, very few Colossi. And this is going to be how he really fights his way down to that important 4th base. On this map, it's so difficult for Terran to attack into that 4th. So if you build a maxed out army and use that to take a 4th, you can actually keep the army alive as long as you play defensively enough and start to take engagements off your opponent. That's the moment where, in a little bit, Harding's going to start harassing with Zealot Warpins at Warpin points. He may actually get some Templar into a Warp Prism, do a little bit of that.
The upgrades currently fairly similar. +2/+2 for both of them.
Chrono Boost will allow Harding to actually catch up.
And right now, one of the things that we... Oh, sorry. Oh, no idea what that was.
Calder's fine now, but the Zealot here is not so fine. He does get trapped. This is something that Harding is trying to use positionally here. But unfortunately for him, ASD did not overcommit to dealing with that little Zealot Warpin. I'm surprised he's going for this attack rather than getting a 4th. Now he's getting a 4th.
The supply is spot on at this point. +2/+2 for both of them, shaping up nicely. The range just now started for those Colossi. Up to this point, he doesn't have them. He didn't really commit to Colossus, but now with the 2nd robotics facility and the 4th base coming up, he can, of course, get High Templars and Colossus. Really important here for him.
That's really important indeed. 3 cannons going down. There's again a Zealot Warpin. This is not the right time to be warping in Zealots, I feel.
Yeah, when the army is in the middle of the map, then you can warp those in, but right now they are a little bit useless.
He warped them in a long time ago. It took him a while to walk over there, so that may be one of the reasons. He's actually just consistently replacing every 3 Zealots. He warps in with 3 more, and these are actually going to have a very different fate. The Observer spots this, so this time the decision to actually send the Zealots in is a good one, a smart one. Harding is in position to defend against this Terran army as well. This is a great moment for him. He kills SCVs, and he will be able to defend against the army.
13 High Templars and 8 Ghosts. Once again, the battle will just center around those units. Nice EMP, but good feedbacks. Both of them really trying to make sure that these caster units, that these support units don't stand a chance. Dodging EMPs and storms is going to be so important. And another, wow, nice storm and a feedback. Really well done here. A lot of damage dealt.
I can't believe that actually happened. It's so hard to actually fight against ghosts if the ghosts know you're coming.
It was like an accident about that. Like watching one as well. Like, what?
Yeah, that was insane.
One single High Templar just walks up the choke point. It's like, hey guys, how you doing? Feedback, storm.
He does his like High Templar float, and then he destroys everything.
Talking about float, we have 2 medivacs floating to the top left now. And, well, the expansion is just not there yet.
He could feedback one of those medivacs down. He picks the wrong one.
But the warp in is ready. He has to cancel a lot of the cannons though. Does he have it? Did he actually warp in enough Zealots? I'm not quite sure if that is enough to take this down.
I don't think it is. He lost all the cannons without canceling them either. See the Zealots fall here. Now, this army that ASD is sending across is going to be... it's going to be totally crushed. I'd rather the pro production is going to be, not production, we're falling apart here, like the Wicked Witch of the West, we got water on it, but he's going to be able to shut down mining for a little bit. This is not a good engagement for parting on top of the ramp. This is that spot I was talking about earlier, where it's so hard as a Terran player to attack down into that base.
Nice dodge on the Storm and able to take down a few additional units, especially of course the High Templars with the snipes. Really important. So far the EMPs were good and he still has enough ghosts. With the personal cloaking, he's doing really great here.
He's doing what most Terrans do not in this situation on this map. He's leaving just 3 Marines to stop mining and then poking around. He doesn't have to actually commit to kill this next. If it's not mining, it doesn't really matter in the first place. Really good Storm there. But parting, does he have enough Zealots actually? That's the question. His Zealot count right now at 24. I feel that the Stalker count is a little bit high here.
Both are maxed out and now committing to the fight. The EMPs are great. All the shields are gone now. And the ghosts are being exposed, they are paying for it, whereas the Vikings are trying to push those Colossi back. Supply is still about even. That is a really tense game here.
ASD just doesn't have a base. He's got one finishing up right now, which again, there's just some subtle choices that players make. Hold that thought, we're going to have potentially the final engagement. ASD's going so low on hit points right now, but he's choosing to take this base, one that's closer to the base that he is attacking and putting pressure on. This is so smart. So many other players would put their base to the bottom right where Zealots are going to tear them apart, or he's going to have to deal with storms from the high ground, but not ASD. He takes a smart location and a great storm here.
That storm was brilliant. That was
he's going to lose ghosts. He loses 2 ghosts for nothing.
But the army is in such bad shape for ASD. He's on half hit points. That's all that he has. These storms, they were brilliant. They were perfect. We now have 200 supply for parting and 180 for ASD. The army supply is in favor of the Startail player at 136 against 118, and he's committing again. He's moving in. He's trying to push it back. The EMPs are good, but the army is on half HP and he has to stim again.
Finally, the Vikings are able to connect on top of the Colossi, but a storm takes them out. ASD drops out. He doesn't have the money like Harding does because he hasn't had that base to remax very quickly. Look at this. GG. Look, that type of warping is exactly what I'm talking about. That's where that bank comes in. That's what happens in the late game where you just warp in Zealot after Zealot. You replace the supply as it disappears. You can do it, and you can do it while you're fighting because it's right next to your army.
ASD lost the game, which means he is out of Code S. He will not advance. He will be in Code A next season, and Parting still has a chance.
I learned something really important. It is pronounced Cyan.
Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy for you.
I wanted to let you know that.
One of the things that's not going to bother you anymore.
It's not going to affect the outcome of this group, though. No matter how you say Cyan, Harding won that game. And that means that ASD is in Code A. He'll have to fight his way through again next time. He was almost able to get out through the actual bracket, but not able to take that last series. Find himself down again, just always on the cusp. You know, these Epic Terrans, a lot of them besides Gumiho are out there. They're really strong, like the best, for example, but they usually just can't quite get into Code S.
We still have a scenario where all of the players that are currently in, well, that we see now, Beyond, Harding, Shine, and Keen, all of them could advance. We don't know yet who will be through, who will be Code S and who will be in Code A. But the mystery is going to be solved very soon. Keen is now up against Trapped, and if he wins this game, he is going to be one of the Code S players. Trapp is already out. He has no chance of advancing anymore. He lost his 3 games already.
Keen wants to slap down this Sandbag player.
Trapp is getting serious.
He takes it off. He says, no way will I be 0-4 in this group. In fact, we haven't had any of those yet. We had 0-3 players. There has not been a single 0-4. Trapp could be the first one if he loses here. And he's going to have to remember that for the rest of his life. Map is Daybreak here.
You know, if Keen wins now, then we have then the next game is going to be Beyond versus Shine. And if Beyond wins this after Keen won, then it's over. Then Keen and Beyond will advance.
Yes. Yep. Well, this game determines a lot. We'll see if Keen can do it. If he continues how he's been playing so far in the group, I think he will. It's 3-0 against 0-3 here at the GSL Up&Down matches cast by Calder and Wolf. The map is Daybreak. Just going through it right now.